Hi everyone, my name is Timo and welcome back to another video. Today I will be talking about this one, which is a very classic and in many ways I think iconic fragrance, and it is none other than Yves Saint Laurent Pour Homme. What I mean by iconic, and like I said, many ways iconic. So first of all, I think that, YSL as a brand is a very iconic brand, and also when it comes to fragrances as well. And also, if a fragrance has been made in 1971, I think that it makes it somewhat of an iconic perfume. And also, at least some people knows this fragrance from a movie called American Psycho, where it was included in at least in a one scene where Christian Bale opened or went into the bathroom and opened some kind of like a cabinet, if I remember correctly, and there was a bottle and probably some other products of this as well. I just think that in the movie, if I remember right, the bottle, it probably was a splash bottle or an aftershave or something, because I don't think that it had a sprayer. But anyway, the red cap bottle version is very iconic to me. And even though I always try to avoid sounding like I speak like only that you need to have like a vintage version of an older perfume, because you definitely don't. There are actually many fragrances that I think that the current version is even better than any of the vintages that I've tried. But just for the bottle alone, I personally feel that I get the most out of this fragrance when I have an older bottle of it in this red cap version, even though this is nowhere near as like an original formulation of it, and I personally don't even care that much. I just always have felt that I need and want to have an this type of a bottle, because I don't know, I just really like that. I feel that the red cap just pops out so nicely that it feels great to have it in the shelf, let's put it that way. And I'm a big fan of these kinds of built-in sprayers, and based on my own experience, I always have had really good experiences with built-in sprayers. They work really well, or at least to me they have been doing that. Okay, but yeah, I will be spraying it a little just because I like to do that usually on a video. And yes, as you can probably hear and maybe even see, it's so full of smell already. But yeah, the mist is very good with this one. But okay, yeah, it's a very familiar smell, very iconic and classic kind of smell that you get right away. And I have to say that this has been like a grower on me, because I always wanted to like this a lot, but there was a moment when I wasn't sure if I enjoyed this as much as I kind of hoped, because this definitely has, first of all, it's a very, especially the opening part, is a very lemony and like obviously fresh lemony citrusy smell. But there is already this kind of little bit like sweaty skin or very warm skin type of slightly sweaty feel to this. And it might sound off-putting, and I felt that first when I got to try this the very first time. I wasn't sure about if I really like this as much. But what I consider, and when I say sweaty, I really don't mean that it smells like a sweaty, like how sweat really smells like, because that's usually not a good smell by any means. This just has this, I feel that it's important to say that even though it's very citrusy, it has this, like if you've ever had an lemon at your home, like a real piece of lemon, either you grow it on your own or you bought it from a store, and if you left it on the table for a few days, it you notice that it starts to kind of shrink in size, and even the smell gets a little bit more sharper and pungent, and that way it has this certain like almost sweatiness to it, or at least that's how I see it, because it's not kind of a mouth-watering delicious type of citrusy opening and citrusy smell in general. It just has this sharp, bitter, um, kind of piercing smell to it, which is, like I said, very lemon heavy. There is some kind of, I think, lemon verbena, and I also think that the petitgrain that's in here is making that sharper, like slightly piercing element a little bit more noticeable in here, I think. But honestly, I have to say that even though, like I said, I wasn't sure about this the very first time when I got to smell it a long time ago, but I absolutely think that this is so good. It's just giving a little bit different style to this, because this reminds me a little bit of Acqua di Parma's Colonia, for example. It has same kind of like slightly bitter and harsh, not harsh, but sharp, bitter, citrusy quality to this. But this has a lot of things like musk and maybe even something like patchouli or something that just brings a little bit of like earthiness to this. And I'm sure that the musk in here is also what is giving that certain like, I keep repeating the word sweaty, but honestly, it's not like that really. It's just that more like a warm, warm skin type of a smell that is just giving warmth to the fragrance and just a little bit more body to this, I would say. There is a lot of green elements in here. It has also lavender, I think, that just gives a little bit of more of that certain like herbal quality to this, and all kinds of like green other herbal notes as well. So it is definitely quite aromatic, and just a really great stuff. Honestly, I find this to be a great fragrance to wear. I personally like, even though it's been made, I don't even know how to count that far, 71, so it's 50, 54, 56, something like that, over 50 years old, I think. So it doesn't feel like that when I wear it. Of course, it doesn't smell like like a fragrance that you find nowadays in the store, but at the same time, it's just a very enjoyable, classy, kind of grown-up type of a perfume that honestly it speaks elegance to me, and I just absolutely love it. And I'm not sure how it smells like in the little bit more recent versions that were in these cubicle bottles, but I can only talk about very highly about these older bottles, and just a big fan of this fragrance in general, I would say. And yeah, that's pretty much all. They also had a Haute Concentration or super concentrated version of this, which was also very nice. I just feel that I don't need that anymore because I have this, and I actually think that I slightly prefer this over the concentrated version. But yeah, YSL Pour Homme, awesome fragrance in my opinion. Let me know what you think about this, if you have any experience, or if you don't, it's still fine. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care. Bye.